We have here an Ubuntu 22.04.2. I also have Docker, and I don't have any Docker images. And I just installed the Podman containerization uh, technology, which is also an alternative of Docker. Whereas you do Docker images in Podman, you just also do it Podman images. So they have a symmetrical command structure. So Docker and Podman have symmetrical command structure. They support the same arguments. We can see here that I have two Podman images, the Redis and Ubuntu. I also have here the CPP test CLI 2023 version. Now I'm going to explore here the use of Podman with the Parasoft static analysis tool. But before doing that, the quick summary that I'm going to uh, introduce here is that Podman is just Docker. The difference here is that in Docker, there is a daemon here, the Docker D, and notice that it is running under the root user. Every Docker command that you type from here on, such as Docker run, etc., Docker images, etc., Docker ls or Docker ps, all of these commands just sends a JSON API call into this daemon, just like how HTTP does. In fact, it's HTTP, but with the caveat that is using a Unix daemon socket. See, it can also be modified to use TCP/IP as well. So it is an HTTP call, but using the file system, using sockets. And this has been perceived as an attack surface because you can see here it's running as root. Who knows what could happen there? So all Docker containers uh, passes through the Docker D uh, when the user tries to interact with a container. Now for Podman, let's try to see ps grep Podman. There's no such thing. Okay, this is just the command that we type right now. Or let's see. Yeah, it's running. Padman is running as a non-root user. So let me try to check further. What is this 1463? And is the system D. So in contrast to Docker D here, which is running as root, Padman is running as a guest user. So every command that you type in Padman is going to talk to this uh, daemon here, but this time it is no longer running as root. So it has the security privileges of a guest user instead of a root. Now let us try to instantiate Padman. We're going to map the location of the CPP test CLI inside the Padman container. So let's see, I'm going to use Ubuntu as the container. Okay, let me run it. Padman run. I'm looking at my chat sheet here. I didn't memorize all of these commands. Okay, And we're going to do mapping B, which is a volume map. Going to I'm going to copy this path here in the host, and then I'm going to map it inside the container as here. Okay. And then I'm going to name it as CPP test pro, and image name Ubuntu latest. And then, yeah, that's it. Enter. But before doing that, I forgot one tiny detail. In order to have a stable machine ID, as we all know, the Parasoft C++ test is very dependent on the MAC address of the network card. I am going to, for this demo, I'm going to map it into the networking of the host, like that. Okay, it is maybe it's network. Oh, we have a duplicate. This name is already used by another container. Let me delete this. Podman RM. It was from a previous instance of a container that was already stale right now. So there's deleted, and let's rerun again. And we have now Podman PS. We now have a container. It is now time to enter into the container. We need to enter there so that we can play around what's happening, what's going inside. So let me see, Podman. So pardon me, but I'm going to type Docker here because this is I have a memory muscle of this. Docker exec it. Oh, sorry about that. It's a memory muscle. I forget if I don't type it. Okay. Now instead of Docker exec, it's going to be Podman exec, and that's how it's done. And we are now inside the container. If we go to the okay, let's type the file system. We can see that we have a here folder. This is the folder that we map over over here. So this here folder inside the containers is actually the this folder here in our host. So if we go there, and we can see the Parasoft installation. Now, because we're now inside the container, let's try to tinker what's inside IPA, and we don't have IP command. Okay, let us install IP command then. But first, we need to update the container, install the app, install IP route 2, which is the package name of the IP command. Now we should be have an IP command, and we can see here that this is what the networking structure inside the container. Let me maximize this and split my window. And at the bottom is the host. Let me try to type the same command. So we can see that they are Similar. They have the same MAC here because we map them. They have the same IP as well. Okay, so for all intents and purposes, the container have the same networking stack of the host. I should be able to run here cpp test CLI list configs, and indeed we are able to do that. Of course, if we choose the other one, being CLI, um, list configs, we will not be able to run this. As I've said, we need the properties file. Okay, no problem. We will copy this properties file into the container. Let me use my muscle memory again, docker cp, because I forget the actual command, so I have to use docker. Okay, docker cp, then the name of the container cp test pro. Let me just put it into the root folder. Okay. So whereas you usually you type it like this in Docker, I now have to replace this with Podman. Is it working? Ah, it's working. And there are no errors. We switch back here, go to the root, and the cpp test CLI is here. And the reason I put it in root because the home folder of our bash shell here is in the root. Okay? So you should always put it in the wherever is the root location of your user. Let's run again the cpp CLI with the presence of the properties text file, and now we're able to run the command. So I will exit now from the container and Podman ls. We can see here that the CPP test, the Parasoft C C++ test is fully operational inside Podman, mainly because Podman is just Docker with the differences that I explained a while ago, where the daemon associated with Podman is not running as root, but instead is running as a guest user. So of course, you're not going to operate Podman like this, as I did. You're going to automate it into a CI/CD. And you can see here that it can be fully done with Podman. Thank you. And that's all.